All right, guys, we are live. Has been a while. Let me just send this to my Discord. Let me check the sound is okay. Just a second.
All right, guys, we are
everything
live.
is perfect. So let me send this to my Discord and we'll get started straight away. We are now live at Market Maker. Oops, not this. Live right now. Okay. All right, perfect. We can get started. Remember that if you want to request an altcoin, sorry, just let me move here. There we go. If you want to request an altcoin, you can just write it in the chat and we'll go over it. So as usual, let's start out with Bitcoin. I can see we're already getting that nice pump onto that anchor view up. So very important that we check the reaction here. Sorry for the mess. I was doing a one-to-one class. By the way, I am long on Bitcoin, as you can see. I sent this alert earlier today. I woke up at 7 a.m. I had an alert for the reclaim of these lows, reclaim of the value area high, of the value area low. We'll cover it in a second. Just want to check here what is happening. But yeah, I was having a one-to-one, so this is why this graph is already messy. Let me clean it up and we will explain it again. So this long trade that I'm into right now, first of all, it is quite risky. I do understand that the trend is to the downside, and also higher time frame, we are still looking for that target of below 80,000. Why? Because we have this higher time frame range, right, that we had here. We took it out, we entered our short trade, the target becomes the low. So now our final target is 80,000. That does not mean that we cannot take long trades at good points. If what you need to understand is I can be bearish. For example, you can see I still have my short trade open on Bybit, which is running with about $5,000 in profit. I closed 3,000 on this account. And what you need to understand is that even though my overall bias is bearish, and therefore I would like to see, for example, 79,000, it is important to understand that if a long is given, I'm still going to take that long trade. So if I get a valid long trade entry, I will adjust my size. So as you can see, I am risking like 800 bucks, which by the way, it's quite a lot for this account, which also this reached 22,000. I did take 2 losses. It was at 22,000 with unrealized gains, which I also wanted to speak about because I don't think I managed one of the trades correctly. And it was the long trade that we had here, which once again we'll cover in a second. But yeah, that's about something else. So I was up like $2,000. I should have taken more profit, and I ended up with a small loss on that trade, which should have not happened because if you guys go back to the chat, you would have seen that I had given. Let me get rid of this short trade. We are all aware that we're in this. The long trade was right here at 87,600, right? It was like this, and I had given the target above 90,000. That was reached. I did take profit, but I didn't take enough profit, and I should have trailed this trade. Instead, I was up like 2.6K here, and I let it just get stopped out eventually. So I ended up taking like, on that trade, I made like $500, but then I took another trade yesterday, I think here, and on that one I took like 1K loss, so I ended up with like a minus 400 loss. So that wasn't correct, but anyways. Now we're in this long trade, and it's very simple, really. We took the lows that we had here, as you can see, the series of low, and we are trying to hold once again. We had the low, higher low, higher low. We want to be holding this higher low now. On the TPO, it looks all right, to be honest. It doesn't really need to go back here. It can be the low, and I do think that if Bitcoin is to reverse. Perhaps it could do another SFP, but I don't see the point in doing another SFP. But anyways, I can see a scenario where this is the low and this can reverse. Maybe not all the way up to 96 or maybe not up to 100, but I think this is a good reversal point. And so it is the last long that we can take, I think, at this point before potentially going back to this low. So that is why I think 1 is good. And 2, because, where is it? Right here. We did SFP these lows. We did reclaim the value area low. So once again, once you fake out the value area low, your target technically becomes here. I'm not going to target here, of course, but I could target that 96,000. But for now, I'm going to be very conservative and I'm going to target that 89,000. So I was also giving this to my one-to-one student. I think this is the next point where we can look for that reversal. So I am going to set an alert here. And here is also a point where we can look for a short trade. So there's going to be 2 different scenarios. Getting this short trade now, so in the next 1 hour or 2 hours, so during market open, would be nice to put that lower high right here, right? We have a series of lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high. Why not put another lower high here, hit our levels, anchor view up, point of control of the old range that we had here, naked point of control on the weekly, reject, bring this more down. And here we can take that short trade. So this would result in a long, which we're in right now, at least if you took it, I am, into short. So we could have something like this. Now, of course, we have to consider that if, and this we can look for much, much lower. We do got to consider that if this level is flipped, so if all of this is flipped, and especially this value area high, next target is going to move up to 91.5, and from there, these highs, etc., etc. So we could honestly go back to the 96K, but I think it is very crucial to flip this 89. So this is the area that I'm going to be interested in for the next, I don't even want to call it swing short. I'm going to say scalp short, but it's not really a scalp. I'm just not calling it a swing, because our real swing trade is, we actually have 2. One is from here, right? Which is the one that is still open on Bybit. And the other one is, and that was our swing trade, which once again, this started as a scalp short, but turned into a swing. And then our bigger swing trade is here. Now, I closed this original entry on BitUnix, so on this other exchange right here, just for a form of taking profit. The truth is, I'm still in a short trade. The entry doesn't really matter. But yeah, so I would say this is the next opportunity for a short. I don't know if we're gonna get there. We do gotta check this previous high right here. I think that's important. And as you can see, look at this perfect bounce at market open onto the anchor view up for that 0.72 retest. That was just perfection. Taking the lows. This can look good for that push, but I'm just worried about this. So let's see what happens here. We do still have 15 minutes to move above here. We do got to consider also this value area low as resistance, but should be all right. Let's just see. Obviously, if we go back below this low, this is not going to look as good. I might close my long trade early. Now, I'm not going to take any profit. I don't think there is any point. What you can do if you want to be aggressive, maybe you could move your stop loss here and risk, half of what you're actually risking. For now, I'm going to keep it here, but I am manually going to manage this trade if I need to. So yeah, this is the area for that short. We are in the long, of course. Just because I'm in a long doesn't mean I'm not going to take that short. As you should know by now, my favorite position is actually to be in a long and a short from support and from resistance. That way, whatever happens next, so let's say we take that short trade only on a bearish reaction, let's say it does that, but then we find support with a higher low here, and we proceed higher, this gets stopped out, we make money on this one, right? Same thing for this, we will take profit here, take profit 1, we will take the short, if this proceeds to go down, this gets stopped out, this makes money. All right, I hope that's clear. So that's the plan for Bitcoin, I would say, for today. Yeah, so the trade here, just to explain it, what I did, I was looking at these lows. This I was not really interested in. This I was not really interested in. You do SFP on the 4 hours, as you can see. I'm not sure if it was on the 30 minutes as well. Anyways, yeah, it was actually twice. So you had that initial SFP. This is called an SFP 2.0. You SFP, you close above, and then you SFP the SFP once again. Now, of course, would have been great to have the entry here. I unfortunately had not followed. I didn't have alerts, and I wanted to be more conservative. So what I waited for was that fake out of the lows, and I entered a little bit higher this morning because I was waiting, as I said, for that reclaim of the value area, which, if we zoom out, was up here, right? So as soon as we closed the candle up here, that was my entry. And I wanted to be a little bit more conservative. As you can see on the 30 minutes down here, I mean, who knows why would this just not keep doing this? Once we got that change in market structure right here, right? Already that was one more sign that we could have taken that long. So I felt more confident being a little bit more late and having a wider stop loss rather than just trying to catch the exact bottom. So yeah, that was the reasoning here. Plus we did have, I think it was 13 million shorts stuck right here. And another thing is we do have right here, if I'm not wrong, in this candle, we do have 28 million shorts. So that's not a proper 8. There you go. That's a really nice 8. So if we start running up here, I do think that this level could get just broken and we just trade through it. And in that case, we don't even have to look for a short trade, because the shorts that are stuck here at this point here, they're going to be triggering all the stop losses. And I do feel like we could see that run up a little bit higher, maybe towards 90,000 or 91,000. So I'm interested in this level, but I definitely want to see the reaction. Also, I will take some positioning off if this candle closes below this low. So if this candle ends up closing in 12 minutes below here, I will take some profit on this position. It's not, I wouldn't even say profit because it's only $180 up, but I will take some position off. So probably what I'm going to do, I'll take like 25% off. I'll move this up. This way I'm managing the trade a little bit better. Because to be honest, I do want to see that push quite quickly. I feel like if we take the high and we close back below, chances are, maybe I'll wait for a 5-minute market structure shift, but chances are that I think this will keep going down. And it's showing weakness. So yeah, that's pretty much my plan for Bitcoin. And I do want to show you the short trade that I have on Pippin, which is absolutely printing. So funding is kind of killing me on this one. It's very expensive. But what happened here? We shorted here. I took profit here. It was about 25%. We went back to that entry. I added here, took some more profit, and ever since I haven't. What I'm waiting for Pippin, as I've explained in the Discord, is actually a move down below to that value area low, which we really came close to, unless this shifted. Okay, no. So I do think it's possible that we can go one more move down here, which is where I'm going to take 35 to 40% off of that short trade, and then I'm going to let the rest run. Of course, another thing you can do is you can take the, let me just check one thing. Maybe a bigger harmonic. Tune, tune, tune. That would have been there. So let's see. You would have had boom, boom, boom. This is what we were looking at that one time, but this got invalidated. But maybe now we have the one like this here. No, that's not valid. Let me check this one. Okay. Maybe now we could have something like this. Sorry. This is just not looking as good. Now, if this was the low, I would have said that this was looking good to go maybe even down here. But since this was not the low, this was the low, this doesn't look as good anymore, especially because the low is here. I mean, yeah, it's kind of terrible looking like that. If it was like this, I would have really liked this. This is not really doable anymore, but we do have another one. From here to here. Here, there. No, that's the one we just checked. Just be patient. Maybe an inverse one. Right, something like this. Where this could be actually, we could be putting in the low right here on that value area high. Sorry, value area low. So potentially you could be looking at something like this. So X, A, B, C, D, and then at D, let's say on this weekly, we can look for that short trade again. I would like that. So here we do have a long trade lining up. I would either wait for the touch of this value area low. Let me check if we have anything else that can line up with that. 28, I don't want to go that low. Nothing here, nothing here. 4 hours. Let's check some anchor VWAPs. Perhaps from this low. Nope. Okay. I would say there is this possibility of this harmonic. We just have to, by the way, Bitcoin's not looking great at all. We really do need that push. Yeah, this does not look good at all. That's the low, high. Yeah, I don't know about this. To be honest, it's not looking great. If you're a scalper, that would have been your entry for a short on this 5 minutes. If you're trading very low time frame ranges, and then your take profit would be almost down here. Also, you would have had, if you're a scalper, to be honest, today would have been perfect because you would have had this range right here. Very local range, highs to the lows. You would have taken the low here, long trade, into the high, take profit, go short. Next take profit is going to be once again a range low. But again, I don't scalp. I'm a swing trader, so I'm not worried about that. So we were saying Pippin. Yeah, so I do think there is the possibility for a long trade coming up here. Right? And then trying to short point D. So we could have that short into long, looking for that point C. And then once again, a short. Now, obviously, this is a crazy prediction. I do make these crazy predictions quite often, but that doesn't mean that I can get every single one. This is really looking into the future. I'm just really thinking outside the box here. Something like that, rejection, down. Onto these highs, yeah, that wouldn't be too bad. Even though, of course, here, once we flip this value area high, I do feel like we could go for new highs. So once again, it's all based on reactions. We got to see what happens. But this could be an interesting plan. This harmonic doesn't look too bad. Keep in mind, this harmonic is basically just the inverse of, for example, what we were looking at here, right? So this is to find point D to long or point C to short. In this case, it's just the inverse. So we're looking for point C for a long, point D for that short. So I do like this, to be honest. And technically, that long trade could already been activated from this 7-2, right? So to be honest, I am going to take some profit here on this Pippin because I don't care about taking an extra $25 or whatever it is to get this difference. I do recognize that we might have put in the low. So I am going to take 25% now. And this trade is now up 1.1K. And yeah, so I'm not taking the long yet. Even though on the 5 minutes you do have that valid entry, especially now on that retest. So you can see 5 minutes, we had that change in market structure. Now we're getting that retest. If you want to be aggressive, you can do the trade like this. And once again, you should be in a short. So even if this doesn't play out, if this stops you out, you will you'll keep making money on the short. So that's not an issue. I would raise the stop loss, to be honest, probably around 36, which I already did if I'm not wrong. Let me see. Stop loss, yeah, 0.36. And yeah, so that's it. That's the plan for Pippin. Are the NPOC on the chart daily, weekly, and monthly? Yes. Now I didn't update the NPOCs. We can do that together now actually on Bitcoin, because there are some other ones that I didn't put in my charts. So let's clean this up. Also, let me check that candle. We still have 2 minutes. Also, I am gonna check order flow. As usual, I'll check on here. So on TradingView first, just to see what's going on. All right, so this was a short squeeze. This is just shorts getting stopped, which makes sense. All the people that shorted here, now they're getting stopped. You can see that with the open interest going down, delta going up, which doesn't really show strength. Typically, if you want to see strength, you want to see longs coming in, but that come after. You did have actually some longs coming up here, a little bit late. I would say actually this might get stuck. Obviously, they get stuck if we have that full reversal, which is why I'm hoping we just keep on pushing. But yeah, this is just a short squeeze, stopping all the people that had their stop loss here. Then let's go to the CME gap. I mean, not CME gap, to the CME graph. Let's clean this up as well. So CME here, once again, that area that I'm interested in also has this point of control from yesterday's session. All this area, I think it's a good resistance to take this lower. I mean, value is just lower, 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 lower. The lows here are okay. So technically you don't have to go and revisit. These lows, if we close up, are also okay. And this would still leave excess. So this low would be fine. We can see that reversal here. That is possible. That's what I want you to understand. But again, when you look at the overall context, these are not fine. So there's still business to go down here. And therefore, I do think it is possible to get that move up first and then continue lower, which is why, once again, we got to keep these shorts running. You don't want to close the short now just because there's a long opportunity and then price goes to shit and you're out of your short and you take a loss on the long. Instead, no, what we do is we stay in the long. If this reverses, we lose a little bit on the short, but look at this. Long 0.33, sorry, short 0.33, long 0.5, which means I have more exposure to the long side. Since I am leaning more for a move higher first, I'm gonna lean more towards a long, but I'm gonna keep this because if this fails, I wanna keep making money. If this fails, I think that we're going back down to 80,000. So why would I miss out on an extra $8,000 move to the downside, which would bag me another $3,000 in profits just because I get a long opportunity? That is not smart. So that is why we do long and short at the same time. Anyways, yeah, so that's it for the CME. And what else were we supposed to do? Candle did close below. That is technically an SFP. But let's see what happens in the meantime. Don't forget, you don't have that 5-minute market structure change. If this becomes that retest and then breaks the low again, then I think it's looking a bit weaker. And that's when, if you don't want to be too aggressive, you can take that short trade. For now, I'm going to wait. And either way, I'm not taking the short trade here. Either way, I'm only taking the short trade if we move up to that point right here that I was speaking about, 89.4. And once again, depends on the reaction, depends on the order flow. But here, honestly, I'm not really interested. I think if you had to, you should have taken it here, and that's it. I'm not going to take that retest. Yeah, so I think Bitcoin, that's it. My bias is still lower unless we start reclaiming this level. As I said, reclaiming this level, I do think there's a higher chance of seeing higher, which is why we're positioned for this. Is there anything I missed? I don't think so. Let's check maybe Ethereum. Let me also check the chat. What do you think about deep charts? Have you ever tried the order flow? Is TradingView good for order flow? I personally use ExoChart. I would suggest you use either ExoCharts or ATAS. I've never tried deep charts. I can test it out and let you know in the future. Do you look at psychological numbers only for the first time being taken out or always? Yes, I only look at psychological numbers the first time. I mean, if it's Bitcoin, I will, and we haven't tested like 100K in a while, like for example, now we've been under 100K for a while, I will consider that as a psychological, especially if, for example, this anchor view up is going to start lining up with 100,000, then yeah, I will consider that we have 100 psychological, even though it's already been passed. But of course, the strongest point is the first time that you ever touch it. So let's see, actually, just out of curiosity, the first time we broke above 100,000, if we had any reaction at all at that psychological level, 99. So as you can see, we actually front run it. That shows like how many people trade this. Actually, this was so crowded that we weren't even able to reach that 100,000. See, you can see that on the daily right here, 99.8. So many people probably shorting right before the psychological that you didn't even have the strength to reach 100,000. From there, you had a 10% drop. So yeah, these psychological numbers are actually pretty good. You can also see that sometimes, some other times, like round numbers like 70, 60, 50, 10,000, 20,000. Same thing for Ethereum, 5,000, 2,000, 3,000. These are all psychological, right? So yeah, speaking of psychological numbers, there's one really interesting coming up. Pretty dead-gen trade here. So we did actually reach the exact target that I had given, which was off of Elliott Wave's targets, which was that $90, which again got front run ever so. Did it? Yeah, 89.7. I actually had given this box a little bit above, but let me check once again if I remember the waves here. That was wave 3. Where the fuck is my wave 1? That was this. Okay. Right, so we ever so slightly front run this. You can see that. I had that 93 target. This is going to be interesting. This can be an actual insane trade if it plays out. And what I would like to see here is, as you can see, we're forming that range. This is what I would like to see for a massive short, which I'm going to try to attempt. Move above. Optimal would be to take out 100, move back down to this low, and then I don't know why, I just have this feeling that this can literally just give it all back. And then we could be, you know, ending up in a trade. Why is that 1 to 4? That is not 1 to 4. Okay, that's a glitch. Yeah, we could be getting into this insane trade. It's because it's on the log. Right? So something like that would actually be pretty crazy. And we can have that invalidation. Oh, I guess it is a 1 to 4. We're gonna have to hopefully get just that SFP, something like that, and then we can get a pretty crazy trade. So yeah, that's it for River. I'm not gonna short this early. I want to see one more move. I want to see my target getting hit. Right there. This is actually exactly what we used to short Bitcoin at 127. So if you don't think these things work, they do. I know it seems crazy, but they actually work sometimes. But yeah. And also you can see here that 1-to-1 target, broken, support, support, push. Once again, supporting it again, SFP right here, push higher towards that next target. Now, could it break and go towards 300? Honestly, yeah, it could. I mean, it went from $1 to 100. That's 100x. Want to have another 3x. Now, I don't know the market cap of this thing, so I don't know how possible it is. I don't really care. I'm just going to trade the reaction that we get. Let me just get a drink. So yeah, guys, if you don't have any tokens to see, I don't think there's much to update. I'm gonna do 2 more. By the way, I did get stopped out of Solana. That was my trade with the stop loss here. I got stopped out of this. I'm glad that I put the stop loss there because as you can see from there, we had an extra, what is this, 6% drop. So always use stop losses. I did take a little $600 loss here. Could we re-see this? Let me see. I don't really have any interest in this, especially now that the lows look like that. I would say for our next long on Solana, I'm gonna be looking at $100 psychological, 106, 105. So either here, or for example, bigger range, $100. Where we took that first trade, and look for SFP and full reversal. No, lower time frame. I wouldn't really consider that an SFP unless you mean, no, not even on the lower time frame, unless you mean of the high. But either way, I'm not interested in trading this. So yeah, Solana, I would say for my next long, I'm gonna be looking way lower. If this reverses and goes to 200, I don't think so, but if it does, I have my spot positions so I don't miss out. Then I wanted to cover XMR because I do think we have a nice trade lining up. We did cover this in the last live stream. I think this can be a very nice long. So I'm gonna be very, very interested in this. I set my alerts at the daily. I'm gonna set one, I already have it at the weekly. And also at the touch of the anchor VWAP. So I'm gonna explain optimally what we wanna see is touch of the anchor VWAP, range, take it out on the weekly with an SFP. That's our trigger. And then we can put the stop loss below here. If that doesn't happen, I am considering slowly adding a position here, position here, position here, position here, and then having like an average entry around here, and then giving myself some space below here, maybe like something like that, to then try and take this and riding that uptrend more, right? Which would still offer 1 to 6, even though we maintain a very wide stop loss. Why is that? Because we're looking for 100% rise to the upside. So yeah, that's gonna be my trade on XMR, and I'm really interested in that. I do want to look at some stocks quickly. Microsoft, I'm still waiting below 400. Meta, this flip of the anchor VWAP is not looking good. Oh, Neo, look at that. I was up $2,000, took 25% off exactly here. Perfect rejection. Nvidia, nothing interesting. Still waiting for lower targets for a new long. So 167 to 150, 59. Gold, I guess I had this long trade here, never played out. This just keeps pushing. I did say gold was going to go above 5,000. There you have it, 5,000. If I'm not wrong, I also said silver was going above 100. Let's see if that happened. Silver is indeed above 100. Honestly, I think you're late for this. So no point in just buying now unless you are, I mean, no point. Who knows? Maybe gold and silver go to 10,000 and 200. But I mean, look at that. Starting to look a bit scary. I mean, it's been doing it for years. So who knows how much longer it can go for. But what is this asset? It's the most bullish asset I've ever seen. Just parabolic. Actually insane. Kind of sad that Bitcoin just doesn't follow along. Because otherwise we would be, I don't know, I would be 100 million probably in net worth if this happened to Bitcoin. GameStop, honestly, I'm not going to trade. I'm not even going to check that stock because it's just, I hate like things that can be moved too easily and back with the short squeeze and stuff. Okay, so here's that pump on Bitcoin that I wanted to see. Very nice. So I'm going to take profit soon on this. I'm up 500. I want to see what happens here at this value area though. But as you can see, the right idea was not to short that and to wait for higher targets. They're not. You just have to be patient here. I'm guessing these are new longs coming in, unless it's more shorts. But as I said, this could actually be those 28 million shorts that we have stuck right here. These are starting to close now. So that's why I think we can see that push. We just need to understand if they're squeezing here or if they're going to start squeezing here. And for that, we can use order flow. And yeah, that is just shorts getting liquidated. So actually I am going to take, now it's down more. No, fuck it. I'm going to stick to my plan. I'm going to just raise my stop loss. I don't think there's any point in risking 800. I'm just going to risk 350. I would like to retake some profit here because as I said, that is actually value area low. Now it just kind of pisses me off because I want to take profit here. So let's see what happens here. I just really don't like when there's these wicks. I just want to see that nice follow through on the candles. Someone's asking for silver. Let's just quickly see it. I mean, to be honest, what is this? There's not much to see. It's just up and up. You can literally just be buying every single day with no stop loss, and the chances are that you'll make money. Same thing for gold. Imagine if you just bought no stop loss since the start of the year, right? 2026. Start of the year, right here. First of all, you would have had zero drawdown. You just buy every single day that there's an open. Buy here, 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 buy here. Buy. No stop loss whatsoever. Maybe just put the stop loss below this low or below here. You would have made money every single day. So to be honest, seems like a strategy that works. I'm personally not doing it. I do have gold, but I have physical gold. So I'm not gonna get it now, but in my room I have little plaques of gold, which I do want to sell soon. Because I just think it's getting ridiculous, to be honest. And yeah, so yeah, I did technically buy gold. It was 3-4 years ago. I did like a 3x. 2023, yeah, like a 3-4x. So yeah, I mean, I'm not really interested in buying here. If anything, I'm selling what I already own. But yeah, for trades, this can be great. Again, technically the strategy that can work is just buying. Who knows, maybe in 3 months we are at 6.5K. However, I do think it's going to be interesting to see what happens if we have that fake out below 5,000. So if gold starts to trade below here, could be that reversal. I just don't really see having seen just gold going up, I don't really see that option where just gold has a massive crash. Does it happen that we have massive crashes? 6%. See on the weekly. I mean, not really. Not in the last years, at least. 2022, we had 22%. Nah, 45%. 2012. Yeah, I mean, it's possible. It hasn't happened in the last 10 years. Yeah, 10 years that this just keeps on going up. So anyways, I'm going to take some profit here. Not much. I just want to scale out of my position very slightly. But overall, my target remains... By the way, I took 10%. Not much. I just don't want to risk too much. And I might even put my stop loss here, to be honest. I don't think we need to go back there. So this is what I'm going to do. Like this, I only risk $100. So I just showed you how to manage a trade from possibly losing 800 to only $100 because I took 40. I mean, those are fees. I'm actually going to receive part of these back. And yeah, so I'd rather be safe because I already took some stop losses here. But yeah, we're already building this back up to 20,000, so no problem. But yeah, optimally, I am waiting for this target. I do think it's going to get hit. My targets rarely don't get hit. No flex, but typically when I give a target, within a day or two, it gets hit. And this is my new target. We just need to get back into here. Yeah, I think that's it. There's nothing more to show. Ethereum, I'm just in spot. It was really a shame. Here you do, by the way, have that long setup, even though I don't really like these lows. But it's the same thing as Bitcoin. Typically, when you have a long setup on Bitcoin, you also have it on Ethereum. Reclaim of that value area low. Target becomes point of control, which is already over it. So technically now target is 3.3 on Ethereum. That doesn't mean it's going to happen now. It all depends on Bitcoin. Let me see if I take that out and not consider this drop. Where we have that volume is going to be... Actually, sorry. Target is going to be 3.1. Was just a shame to not see that move to 3.3. No, sorry, to just above 3.45, because I was talking about this in the live stream. I was planning on taking profit here on like 50. Sorry, no, it was no I was planning on taking a big short at 3.7, which by the way is still very valid. I do think it's possible. It seems more unlikely now. I mean, here we only had 8% to go. Now we probably have like what, 25%. So it seems a little bit more unlikely to go now. But yeah, it was just a shame because I really wanted to take like 30% off of my position here and take a big short here to hedge my spot, and those targets never came by so little. When would I start buying ETH? I don't know. I already gave those targets, like it was here at 2.4. I had given this box between 2.7 to 2.4. I do still think it's going to be good to buy anything between like 2.5 to 2.2, especially if Bitcoin has that full reversal down towards 79. I do think if we get a very bearish reaction, I do think the bottom is going to be somewhere between here. So I think when Bitcoin starts to trade towards 69 to 62, I'm guessing Ethereum is going to be down towards 2.2. I don't want to see it back down to here. Let's say maybe taking out 2000 psychological, something like this maybe. And this is a very bearish outlook, by the way. Doesn't have to happen. But if this happens, right, something like this, then I would say this is the best area to start buying. By the way, I mean, who knows? Maybe some crazy shit happens. Stock market totally reverses. And you know, this goes back to 1K. So yeah, that's my outlook. Just Bitcoin can't break through that value area low. We really need that push inside it. I don't remember. The only thing is, I don't want to be too tight on my long, so I do rather prefer putting it 2 higher lows back. That would be more smart, because I don't want to do something like that off of this local range. But I'll see. Maybe I'll move it back up and just trail this. But I mean, this looks fine. There's a retest, anchor view up, taking the liquidity. I don't think, if we're gonna keep pushing up, I don't think this needs to be revisited. So you could keep your stop loss there. I just don't want to be too aggressive. Typically, according to my statistics, at least for how I trade, when I'm too aggressive, I tend to get stopped out, something like that, and then we have that reversal. So yeah, I mean, it's not even a usual thing that I do. Typically, I would maintain my stop loss here, but I just want to show you how you can like slowly trail up a trade. So yeah, I think that's it. I think we covered pretty much everything. This is 1 hour of live stream. And yeah, there's no more requests. So I am gonna end it here. And I'll update you in the Discord if we get that move up towards 89.5, which hopefully we do. So yeah, enjoy your day. And once again, be safe trading. And I will see you tomorrow.